Yeah.
And then by the time you get through sort of anniversary weekend and then Waitangi, it's sort of mid-February by the time it starts up again. And then you go for a bit. We've done a lot of things under urgency, so we've had some quite long sessions. But yeah, it's one of the things I talked to Chris Bishop, who's leader of the House, about how do we.
Are you going to change it? So you had 3 weeks, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 weeks off for the school holidays. You came back for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and now you're off again.
Just for a week. I mean, as I understand it, it's because of the way it was phased in the first half. There's a whole bunch of technical reasons for it, but look, the bottom line is we're working pretty hard, and I think we've got a big legislative agenda to get done before Christmas.
Yeah.
And frankly, we'll just be running into urgency, which means that we go from 9 to midnight until we get it done.
All right, so
and we go into weekends if we have to.
The congestion, not that I'm against it, but to suggest, as Simeon did yesterday, it's not about raising revenue is simply not true, because it raises revenue.
Yeah, so it raises revenue, and that'll be used on transport infrastructure, and it can't be used on pet projects and silly stuff. But the real reason for it, and there's actually been all political parties over the last 2 or 3 years have been very supportive of this in Parliament, is that when you look around the world, if you do it right, you can get an 8 to 12% reduction in congestion. So if you think about school holidays in Auckland, that's about sort of what that would look like. And then when you look at the actual time it takes per kilometre in Auckland versus, say, similar cities in Australia, we've got a congestion problem. And congestion, the problem with that is the tradie can't go do another job. You've got slow deliveries, you've got a whole bunch of economic and productivity challenges.
But we also have very poor roads, though.
Yeah, we do have poor roads, and that's why we're trying to spend a lot of money investing in upgrading those roads. But congestion charging is something that we'll open it up, and we'll get some submissions on it. We'll work with the council on it here in Auckland.
The Wayne Brown dream of taking some power off AT, this is Simeon Brown as well. When is this actually going to happen?
It's not going to happen. We're not going to merge AT and NZTA, but I think the Mayor and ourselves are pretty unhappy with Auckland Transport's performance, and the Mayor will continue to talk about what they can do to do a better job.
So that's all they're doing? They're just going to talk some more?
Well, I'll let them sort that out, but the bottom line is I don't think anyone's 100% happy with Auckland Transport's performance.
No, but in not being happy, don't you want to do something about it?
Well, we may well do something about it, but that'll be something that we'll work with the Mayor on.
Yeah, but he would tell you to take some power off them.
He might have a whole bunch of different ideas, and we might have some different ideas.
So my understanding was you were looking at doing something tangible. You're not.
As I said, I think what I heard yesterday was people were saying, are we going to merge AT with NZTA, and that's not going to happen. Okay.
As regards the power crisis, has anything happened since I talked to you about this last week, apart from we're not happy?
Yep, there's been rationing of gas, so that actually we're getting it to from places where it needs to get out of to actually into the energy system. What's happening is, I mean, look, if you back up the truck a bit, this is a function of actually the ending that oil and gas ban, and as a result, there's been no local exploration of gas, and as a result, when we've got a dry year like we have now, we've got caught horribly in terms of we're short. Yeah. That is affecting our industrial base. But you're not fixing that tomorrow, even if you say go look for gas. There's no guarantee. No, but there are short-term things that I think we can do around electricity, gas, and then I think there are other things around structure of the sector that we will look at as well. What do you say to Mike Fuchs? He was on the program yesterday from Contact, right? He said there's nothing wrong. We're investing. It'll get there eventually. It's just an industry in transition. Is that fair or not? I get that they're doing a lot of investment, and they've got more certainty now to invest, given we've got Tiwai sorted, got rid of Lake Onslow, we're going to end the oil and gas ban ultimately. But I would just say to you also, when you're running at $1,000 per megawatt, as we were a week before last, and you've got Australia and others running at 50 to 100, we've got a problem. And the problem is essentially we're now having to import huge amounts of Indonesian coal to actually get that Huntly Power Station and others working when we could have had gas, and now we've got no gas locally because it got ended 5 years ago, and why would you invest in something that was going to be ended? That is true. He said there's an announcement coming on gas. Do you know anything about that or not? I might be aware of something, but that'll be announced. What is it you're aware of? I'll let them announce it properly. Is it good news? Is it substantial or not? Yeah, it'll help. Does it solve so there's a series of, what we've done is we've got the industry together probably about 12 weeks ago, and we're actually talking about, right, how do we ration supply? How do we actually get gas from one place to another place where we need it to get to consumers ultimately, and to support our industrial base. So that will alleviate the problem we have right now. There'll be a series of short-term tactical things that we can do to make sure that we've got the supply and demand working better. But the bigger question is, what are the longer-term, medium-term actions that we need to get sorted so that we don't have this energy security challenge? We shouldn't have this in this country. We've got abundant natural resources. If we have gas, which we're going to need when we've got dry rivers and dry lakes and no wind and no sun, we're going to need that. Does the industry need
upending or not?
Well, we're up to looking at anything and everything. All options are on the table.
Because he says it doesn't. It's fine, we'll get there. Do you say differently or not?
That's one piece of work they want to look at is industry structure.
Okay, because where's the ComCom and the EA? They don't seem either awake or alert to what's going on or able to do anything useful.
Those are all part of a bucket of work that Simeon will do around industry structure.
So when Fonterra yesterday and ANZCO say this affects our export competitiveness...
Big time.
It's unacceptable.
Utterly unacceptable, because essentially you've got people like Fonterra having to choke back demand or supply, and they end up spilling milk ultimately. You've got mills, as you've seen recently, that are actually under huge pressure. Windstone Paper, others, Tiwai's choking back its use because it's trying to free up and spill that electricity into the system. They're all short Band-Aid solutions, but you actually need to get a proper structure in place to say, and half the problem is this: if you're in that sector, you don't have confidence to invest. Correct. Because the rules have kept changing on you. And so that's why knocking off Lake Onslow, because we're not going to spend $16 to $30 billion building that with public money, but that means that they expect those gentailers to invest in proper infrastructure, proper new investments. We need to make the oil and gas thing as a function of no exploration's been going on. So that's a 5-year delay to get domestic gas back up to where it needs to get to. So we've got to think through that piece. And then there's genuine questions around the structure of the market. Is it actually working for us when we've got expensive energy? And that's a big problem because it does make our competitive.
Yes, it does.
Down.
Local water done well.
Yep.
Any regrets about that name?
Nah. Really proud of it.
Are you? Who came up with that? Was it you?
Local water. But like getting New Zealand back on track. I think I dreamed it up at 2 in the morning or something. So borrowing. So here are my concerns about it. So borrowing 5 times is only good if it solves the problem. What if you borrow 5 times, it doesn't solve your problem? Well, what we've got to do. So if I take Auckland as an example, I think it's a kick-ass solution. You've basically gone out and said you've got this thing called Water Care. It's working on a project at the moment, Central Interceptor. It's been working on it for a while. Got a whole bunch of Italian tunnellers there, and then they've got no confidence because they've got no money to know what they're rolling into next. And actually, now that they can go have their own separate balance sheet, they can go borrow that money up to 5 times. These are long-run assets that are 30, 50, 70 years down the road. They can invest properly with a proper plan and actually roll into another project straight after this one. Okay. So there's about $2 billion I think they can spend in the next 10 years as a function of doing it. But the genius of it is that then there's $800 million freed up from Auckland Council, who are planning to put that into water care because they don't need to, and they can put that into other stuff. And it's not sexy stuff, but actually just getting the mechanism right has actually been quite important, because the last lot spent $1.25 billion looking into this with one big mega model.
Yep.
And for a couple of $100,000, we found a solution that meets the credit agencies, as well as obviously getting a better solution.
Do you realistically think councils will coalesce if they're not geographically connected to each other?
They will. The ones that are adjacent, if you think about the Hawke's Bay,
I get that.
4 district councils, 1 regional council want to come together. The councils in South Taranaki, across the system. Yep, most of them over the last few years have actually said, we've got to collaborate on this. And then you get to a sub-regional sort of focus rather than having to deal with 82 district and regional councils.
My next concern is when they go borrow the 5 times, there's an interest bill on that, and some councils won't pay that down because they're useless, and some will. So I'm then, as a ratepayer, stuck with paying off a debt and interest on the debt literally forever, aren't I?
Well, they will be able to access the lowest cost debt possible.
But if you're not paying it down, then you're just passing it on to the ratepayer. The
alternative is you do what we've seen across the country, which is people go build convention centres and invest in hotels and do other dumb things rather than actually do the things they're supposed to do, which is the basics brilliantly, and making sure there's water assets that are sorted.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on the welfare because that seems to explain itself. If you want to behave yourself, you'll be fine. If you don't want to behave yourself,
responsibilities, show up, do some basic things, get a CV.
What does worry me is from last week's unemployment numbers, half the jobs lost were kids. So that indicates to me they've got no qualifications. They've left school with no qualifications.
Yep.
They've got nothing to offer the modern economy.
Yep.
What are you doing about it?
Yep. So the reality, I'm worried about that too. You've got 55% of the kids not at school regularly. Then they just roll straight on to unemployment, 18 to 24. We've got 42,000 of them at the moment. What we're doing is we've put 4,000 more phone case managers in to try and get these kids, contacted. We've got 2,100 extra community organisations plugged in with, job support, and we've got to get these kids off welfare and into work. And we've got to teach them that they've got to wake up, get to work, do the basics.
Do you force them to
learn
learn anything? I mean, short of, because this is a tough economy apart from anything else, and they've got nothing to offer the economy. No one's hiring them. So short of ringing them up and going, "G'day, Brian, how are you feeling today?"
Yeah.
What are you offering?
You've got to get them into work. So there are jobs there. I mean, like I spoke to people in horticulture last week who still can't get New Zealanders showing up for jobs or lasting more than 20 hours a week. We need massive amounts of digger drivers. They're cool jobs, and we need those people in that system because we're actually filling.
There are still jobs out there for young New Zealanders who do want to work.
Yeah, absolutely. There always is. And think about it. We've gone from 3.2% unemployment, which was record lows. We're still at sort of 4.6 in the history of our country. That's pretty low still.
Tell me why I had Sonny Kershall on the program yesterday. That crime group you set up.
Yep.
You stuck him on the committee to silence him.
No. Come on, Mike.
They haven't even started meeting yet. What the hell's going on?
Well, I'll talk to Goldsmith about that and make sure that is happening.
Tell him to crack the whip and get on with it. You guys said that when you set this group up, it would last for 2 years, but the ideas are becoming forthwith in the next couple of weeks. Been up for at least a month. They haven't even met.
Well, they need to get meeting then, doesn't it?
Yeah, you need to crack the whip.
But I'll tell you what I am pleased on the law and order bit. We got 52 cops on the beat in 3 weeks in the month of July.
And
lo and behold,
you shouldn't have said that because what did the retail crime numbers say yesterday?
Yeah, but
they've gone from 41,000
but they're in
to
dairies and
dairies
and service stations.
That doesn't count, does it?
No, I'm just trying to give you a perspective to say that actually, when you get out there and you actually talk about what's happening for the down in CBD Auckland, it's starting to get better.
Okay. Yeah. Would you rather be interviewed by me or Glenn?
Definitely you. Yeah, there's no. You're peerless, Mike. I mean, there's no comparator.
You take that? You get that on tape? Nice to see Christopher Luxon, the Prime Minister, 11 away from 8.
Hi, Kieran Reid, former All Black captain. If you're considering investing, it's time to talk to the team that know property investment. That's Wolfbrook. Property investment is for the long term, so take advantage of Wolfbrook's great pricing on properties available now in Auckland, Tauranga, Wellington and Christchurch. Backed by our 2-year rental guarantee and our property management team, you'll get more peace of mind with a Wolfbrook investment property. wolfbrook.co.nz, caring for your future.
At Bunnings Trade, no matter where you are, we're here to help. We have trade specialists in-store dedicated to you and your trade, whether it's sourcing supplies, quoting on jobs or arranging delivery direct to site. And our builders team with dedicated account managers has got you covered at every building stage, from the front fence to the back gate. Plus, you can call our 134 trade team on 0800 134 872 for quick quotes on a wide range of supplies, saving you time and hassle. Bunnings Trade, helping business is our trade.
Finally at a stage where you have money to invest but not sure where to